Welcome to the latest episode of 5 on the Floor on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Thanks for joining us on your favorite podcast app. On Apple, we recommend Apple Podcasts, and on Android, recommend Spotify. You can check out the 5 Reasons YouTube channel for everything else that's going on in South Florida sports, including our daily Miami Dolphins reports. Also, check out Off the Floor. That's our Discord server. That's $2.99 per month. Link in the description. You'll bypass the Apple upcharge, get access to the most heat information and conversation. Again, it's Off the Floor. That is the place to go now. Also, Prize Picks, use the code 5. Marlins actually have some things going on right now. Use the code 5, put down 5, you get 50 to play. They got the Taco Tuesday, the Flex Friday, legal in the state of Florida. This is our daily fantasy partner. Again, it's Daily Fantasy Simplified, prizepicks.com. Use the code FIVE. And now, today's episode.
Mercy, luxurious, Heat Nation. Yeah, Mercy and Lago, down to Biscayne. Yeah, 5 on the floor, ride for my dogs. Where here's the thing, you can check the score. Hustle hard, couple scars, wearing bubble frogs. Down to Biscayne. Kept the floor playing, got it all band. Y'all seen the block, stop with one hand. And Pat we trust, it's power have the guts. We're here to bring the heat, y'all can hang it up.
Welcome to 5 on the Floor, a daily insider show on the Miami Heat and the NBA, featuring Ethan Skolnick, Greg Sylvander, Alex Toledo, Brady Hawk, and others from the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Also, make sure to subscribe to Off the Floor for the most heat anywhere.
All right, welcome back to 5 on the Floor. Here's today's floor plan. I'm Ethan Skolnick. You can follow me at Ethan J. Skolnick on 5 Reasons Sports. I got Greg Sylvander. You can follow me at Greg Sylvander. Right now, as we speak, Brady Hawk is at Miami Pro League searching for Bam Adebayo and Michael Beasley. So we'll see what his reporting skills are. Check that out on Tuesdays and Friday nights in North Miami. We post about it on Off the Floor. Talk about Norm Powell today. He was up this weekend training with the Jamaican national team. He's going to be playing on. We're going to be doing a lot of reporting. We're going to do a lot of coverage, probably on Discord, maybe some on Playback as well, of all these summer basketball that's coming up as teams are playing, as guys are playing for their various countries. Of course, Pelle Larsson is also Jovic and also Norm Powell. But we're going to talk today specifically about Norm Powell's contract situation because we haven't gotten into that a ton. We talk so much about heroes, but not as much about Powell's. And, of course, he's in the last year of a very affordable contract. Him wanting a contract extension was one of the reasons that, the Clippers ended up sort of moving him out. They hadn't agreed. I don't know how far the negotiations went, but they hadn't agreed to anything at this point in terms of what direction they were headed. And, of course, they went in and brought in Bradley Beal on a cheap deal after Beal's ridiculous contract was bought out by the Suns. But we think there's a possibility that the Heat could take care of this early. I know we've talked about a lot, Greg, letting it play out towards the end of the season and then kind of seeing where you're at, seeing where Hero's at, seeing what their connection is, all these other things. And of course the free agency that at one point you wanted to stay open for in 2026, but now it doesn't look like what many thought it was going to be. But if you have a good player and you're not concerned about the age, and we've talked a lot about going young, he's 32, but if you're not concerned because he doesn't have a ton of wear on him, then maybe you do look to extend him early. Let's talk about some of the ramifications of that if they choose to go that way and what the parameters of a contract might look like. Where would you start with this?
It's interesting because, so many people have talked about what Norm Powell, they basically stole him from the Clippers, right? And he is a dynamic player that we hope fits next to Tyler Hero. And I think what's interesting about Norm Powell is that because some of the things that he does are similar to what Tyler brings, maybe from just an overall productivity standpoint, where you're going to get it from the scoring punch, some stuff like that. I know he gets it in different ways. I think that it's interesting because they're both up for extensions. And so they're intrinsically, or I don't know if that's the right word, inherently is probably the right word, inherently connected, because I think that obviously Tyler's going to be looking for big money in his prime as an all-star. Norm Powell almost made the All-Star team last year. I don't know that making All-Star teams is probably the best gauge of how much someone should be paid, but I'm sure that agents use it as a negotiating tactic. And for Norm, I just think that it'll be interesting because if he has a great season in Miami and he acclimates to what they do and they find that he's really not just a basketball fit, but a fit like as a person within that organization and how they operate, it's just an interesting exercise. If you think about Tyler Hero approaching $50 million per year annually, if that's where that goes, compared to, let's say, we'll start here. I've heard a different number, which I'm going to get to in a minute, but Sam Viceni was doing some work on a podcast early summer, trying to kind of gauge or predict what people's extensions would look like. He threw out 3 for $88 million.
Okay.
I've heard it could be even 3 for 80. Again, like that's just very preliminary kind of stuff that's coming out about what it might cost to keep him in Miami. And so it just begs the question, I guess. One, can you pay Tyler and pay Norm and pay Bam and get a 1A player on the team? Like, that's a huge question mark. But then the other part about it is, are you better off having Norm Powell in the 20-ish million range per year over Tyler Hero at 50? I know that probably sounds sacrilegious to say, like, that Norm could be Tyler's replacement in a sense, but I just think it's something that you have to actually think about, because the fact that they're both extension eligible and they're both playing for money in the future, but one's going to cost about double that the other will.
Yeah, and actually Brady and I got into this on the podcast. We talked about how well we thought Tyler and Norm would fit, but that the first time that one of them has a better game than the other, fans on Heat Twitter and other spaces are going to take sides. Even if Hero and Norm get along great, which I think they probably will. First thing, the personality aspect with Powell, like there's a 99.9% chance that they're going to want to keep him. Just based on everything I've heard about him from Toronto and the Clippers, there's not like a mark against his record in any way. I don't think there's any question that they're going to want to keep him around. So then it just becomes, okay, like you said, how much do you pay? We keep talking about Hero and Bam. Then how much do you pay the three of them together if that's not championship worthy? You've also got another year of Wiggins after this one at a pretty high number. And so on the other side of this, what we will talk about as we start talking about, okay, what the figures could be, which is like somewhere in the $25 to $30 million a year range, 2 to 3 years, maybe a team option at the end. I don't think you could probably get away with that. Probably a player option in the third year where that becomes an expiring. But you're looking at a player who probably will exceed his value this year, and then is going to say, if that's the case, is going to say, well, I can do this again for 2 or 3 more years. I'm in good condition. He does this whole thing with the grind and everything. It's clear how hard he works his body. I think a lot of it will come down to availability, Greg. If he's highly available, if he's playing 70 plus games in a way that Jimmy wasn't, not that he's going to be Jimmy as a player, but then I think they're more inclined to give him that money. But they might be so impressed by him early on that you might see it sooner. That's kind of what we're tipping here a little bit. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say it's strong reporting, but they seem highly impressed. I'll leave it at that. And I wouldn't be stunned if they go that direction a little bit sooner. All right. On the other side of this, though, we're going to tell you what direction you should go with your money and who you should trust with it. Safe with your money and who you can trust. Again, in the trade market, in the NBA, you can't trust everybody, right? Lots of weird scams that are pulled off there. Well, you don't want that happening with your cash. That's really important to you. So here's what we're telling you to do. You need to get the Cash App card. When you get the Cash App card, not only do you get access to a ton of perks and benefits like exclusive early access to nationwide concert pre-sales or discounts on popular brands, but you also have extra security with the power to instantly lock or unlock your card right from your phone in just one tap. With Cash App, you can spend, save, and live your life knowing your money is right where you left it, with advanced built-in security protections you should count on and help when you need it. Spend with peace of mind today and order a Cash App card in the app or at cash.app/card. card. Also, for a limited time only, new Cash App customers can use our exclusive code to earn some additional cash. For real, just download Cash App, use our exclusive referral code on the floor. We talk about off the floor all the time. No, this is on the floor. In your profile, send $5 to a friend within 14 days. You get $10 drop right into your account. Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App. Cash App is a financial services platform, not a bank. Banking services provided by Cash App's bank partners. Prepaid debit cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. Instant discounts provided by Cash App, a Block Inc. brand. Visit cash.app/legal/podcast for full disclosures. Okay, as we talk about Powell's contract situation, Greg, let's look at what their books look like for next year. Okay, so we're looking at 25-26. We kind of know what this is now. We've talked about it a lot. Bam's full extension hasn't hit, $37 million. Heroes, he doesn't have one yet, $31 million, $28 million for Wiggins. Rozier, $26 million, 24 and change guaranteed, still on the roster. Powell is fifth in pay, 20.5. We're not expecting him to be fifth in scoring. Then Davion Mitchell at 11.6. Simone Fontecchio for now. We did an episode on him the other day. There's some kind of rumors out there I haven't confirmed yet about how maybe they might waive and stretch him, which was a possibility when they got him. I haven't heard they moved in that direction yet. But $8.3 million for him. Highsmith, 5.6. Jovic, pre-possible extension, 4.4. Same for Ware. Hawkes, 3.8. And Kasparis is at 3.6, and then Pelle Larsson 1.9, and same for Keyshawn Johnson. Okay. But then it cleans up the next year. Mm-hmm. Right? Bam. Now, it doesn't clean up with Bam. He's taking an extra $16 million, 49 and change. Extension kicks in. Hero, no extension yet, 33. Wiggins would be the last year of his deal at 30, but then all the way down to Davion Mitchell at 12.4. Hawkes is his pre-extension. If he doesn't look like he's going to get one at this moment, but he's on his rookie contract. 5.9. Ware, same thing, 4.6. Kasper is 3.8. Larson, 2.2. That's it. I mean, Jovic could be. That's a possible add there. But they're fairly lean, with the exception of the Bam contract, and Wiggins still on the books at the moment for that. Mm-hmm. And then the looming Hero extension, which could change a number there. What do you make of that? Like, if you're looking at that, you're saying, okay, so you're going to pay Norm Powell. I mean, the contract could be descending also, but let's say it's not. Let's say you're giving him $26 million in the first year. Is that affordable in your view in terms of the direction that you want to go?
It's interesting. When you look at it year over year, because now I just clicked onto the following year, excuse me, from the one that you referenced, 27-28, they've only got Bam, and it's an estimate of what his cap hit will be in 27-28, obviously. And then they have Ware and Yakachonis on the books. And like, essentially, if they wanted to do this, they would have a clean slate if they do nothing else. Now, obviously, this is the 2 years of Davion Mitchell that were just signed. And obviously it's post Wiggins and getting through that. And also if Tyler were to get an extension, it could change the complexion here a little bit, but not a lot. I mean, I guess why I'm referencing the following season to the one you referenced is that it may be a little, feel like unrealistic when you look at the books for 26-27. But because they clear up so dramatically in the subsequent year, I do think that if things were to go right with this team, people are going to hate that I say this, but like, if Norm and Tyler both rise to the occasion and they show themselves to be relatively adequate playoff players, particularly in Tyler's case, and they win more than we expect them to, who knows? I mean, I think that Norm, it's going to be an interesting dynamic with the length of the contract. I don't think they're going to want to push past age 35 very much. No. And so if they can do short-term deals with some of these guys, it may make sense to keep some of them around, even if they're just tradable contracts. So I think that I guess the primary point I want to get across is just because their books are clear, it doesn't mean, or their books are going to become clear. it doesn't mean that that's a position for free agency by the franchise at all. It's more of that they have the flexibility to keep the guys they like, to make, salary trades that maybe don't match. So there's just other things at play. And when you look at how much flexibility they could potentially have in 27, 28, they're also going to have to ask themselves, are any of these guys good enough to basically take away that flexibility? And I know, like, that word, Ethan, I think of every fan base in the NBA, the word flexibility haunts Heat fans the most because they think that that's some sort of like, we're going to feed the fans that we're looking for flexibility while we quote unquote do nothing, which is kind of BS if you look at it.
Just kick it down the road, basically, is that what flexibility looks like. Like, at some point, this magical player is going to drop from the sky, but you do need flexibility to stay under these aprons, or at least the second apron for the most part, so that you can catch the player who falls out of the sky. Otherwise, you're not in a position to do that. And a lot of teams dumping guys because they simply can't afford them. And then maybe you can get somebody who adds to more of a collective group, if you can't find that number one. And we're look, as the Giannis thing continues to boil out there, we'll cover it. But right now, we're not anticipating that guy is going to be there for the Heat. And then you're like, okay, well, can you build a roster just young from the ground up, which we've talked about a little bit, or do you need some veteran, still skilled, still, very competitive, and competent players there to help you? And they may decide that Norm's the one. Okay. Like, that's the thing. And look, they didn't want to take Jimmy past age 35 at a really ridiculous number because they didn't think he was going to play enough. If they feel that this guy, again, he's not Jimmy, but if they feel that he can give them 60 to 65% of what Jimmy gave them, in some ways, at least on the offensive end, then they may view it as, okay, we're not paying him, what we're paying Jimmy, and he's not 35 yet, and he doesn't have the wear of the Tibbs years, and he fits with our group, and he's not creating problems behind the scenes. And there's a whole bunch of justifications you can make for paying him 26, 27 when you didn't want to pay Jimmy 58, okay, or something along those lines. So I do see it potentially going this direction, and I just think we wanted to call people's attention to this because I think we've kind of made the assumption that, okay, he's in the last year of his contract. He's in expiring. They can maybe move him at the deadline if things aren't going well.
Yeah.
I don't know. They might want to get out in front of this. They might want to get out in front of it. And then that's a discussion and an argument we should have on whether or not they should. But he didn't do anything last year with the Clippers to make you think that he's not going to earn $25-something million over the next couple of years. I don't think his play is going to go like that based on the type of player he is. He's not high athleticism. He's a skilled scorer, a skilled shooter who can do some things on the dribble as well. But he's an elite shooter from certain spots on the floor, particularly catch and shoots. And they got to get him back to kind of a moderate, like sort of a baseline level of defense, because it seems like from what you hear, it slipped a little bit. But I think they've hid guys much worse than him before, and he has a track record of being better than a lot of those players. So let's just make a prediction, let's get it aggregated. Why not? As we close here, what do you think happens?
I think, well, one thing I would like to get out in front of is if the Heat do have a super mid season where they're like, basically rolling down the hill towards 36 to 37 wins, a lot of Heat fans are going to say, why wouldn't you take a guy in the last year of his deal and flip him for some sort of draft capital? So just get ready for that conversation, Heat fans, as it relates to anyone with an expiring contract, but particularly a guy like Norm Powell who can help a contending team maybe. So that's something to watch. I kind of get the sense that he's going to stick around in Miami. I really do. And I think it could be a short-term deal because really all contracts in the NBA these days tend to be relatively short year deals. And what I mean by that is like 2 to 3 years, with the third year being kind of maybe like, like you said, an option year, which could go away. And so at that point, if he's willing to lock in something early and you feel good enough about the fact that he's going to maintain that potential or that productivity that we've seen as a Clipper, I think that there's a damn good chance that the Heat really think hard about locking him up at what would appear to be a reasonable number when you look at him statistically versus what other guys who maybe have similar stats may get in the coming 2 years.
And he may just like the place too, which may cost them a little less. We'll see. He just seems like a fit. He seems like a fit. I don't think this is one of those takes that we're going to end up regretting, and all of a sudden he's a problem behind the scenes. Nothing would indicate that from what we heard. I'm with you. I think they may be looking at getting this thing done early. I wouldn't be stunned if it's the kind of thing that's done right before camp. That's when they've made some of these deals before. We'll see what else happens from a financial perspective. Because remember, they're going to try to get under the tax. They still got some things to do there. So we'll see what happens with Fontecchio or maybe others as we go forward. I appreciate it. What are you laughing at?
I was just going to ask you, but it's a whole nother episode, but I guess
I'm good. We need episodes. It's August. So what is it?
So I'll tease it. Would Tyler be upset if Norm got his extension first? Dun, dun, dun.
Thank you for listening to the 5 on the Floor on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. After all, someone needs to listen to my dad.